Welcome to the GSL Code. It's time for Group J, and I feel like we could have some Terrans going to Code S today, Caldor.
Yeah, the Terran curse is still going strong in the GSL. So far, we had a very unlucky, last week for Terran players in general, and yesterday was, of course, a little bit of a highlight when Innovation wasn't able to get out of the group. Far from it, he finished 4th, as did Flash, so all the Terran heavy hitters that everybody expects to... Yeah, Fantasy as well, that everybody expects to do really well in the groups. They have a bit of a tough time, but we have 6 more Terran players this week that could potentially advance to Code S.
4 of them are playing today.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are thinking that SuperNova is going to get through. But a lot of people thought Flash were going to get through. A lot of people thought that Fantasy were going to get through it. A lot of people thought that Innovation would get through. Nobody thought that Bjorn would get through, but he did.
Yep.
And so I think SuperNova could do it. I think we're going to see a lot of mech play out of him today. That's what we showed us in the GSTL, the last time we really saw him play in a lot of televised matches. So I'm feeling like we're going to see a lot of mech, even maybe possibly against Protoss.
To be honest, I really hope that a Terran player, at least one of them, is able to advance today, because if we actually have CoCa and Stats in group number 1 advancing and both Terran players fall down, I think there will be a riot on Reddit and people will just storm the Blizzard headquarter and just yell, David, David. I don't know, but like things are a little bit like tense for Terran players now. But we have 4 Terran players today, and they could definitely get out of the groups into Code S. In our first group today, we have SuperNova and the Best, and then later on we have Dream and Ryang. So it should be really good games, by the way. We have amazing groups, in my opinion.
Yeah, really,
I'm so excited to see CoCa play today. I'm excited to see DRG play. Sora is playing. That's going to be a treat. And, of course, the Terran players that we already mentioned.
The Best, like, he's in Code A.
Yeah.
He actually announced his retirement and then came back to the Code A qualifiers just because he was still playing a little bit, and you know, he said basically like, I said I was done, but I felt like I'll give it another shot, and now I'm in Code A. Wow. So I mean, he could go to Code S. That would be crazy. The Best, he's made some really big upsets in the past in his career, and he hasn't played actually a single televised Heart of the Storm match since the beginning, like not even one. He
has a pretty good chance to cause a few upsets today, because that group is really interesting. I mean, CoCa, he's like the prodigal son, went to League of Legends after he left Slayers, and after that whole debacle back then happened, and now he comes back from LoL back into StarCraft, where he belongs, in my opinion. And, well, he's doing actually really good. So
yeah, he really is. His first game that we cast of him when he came back, I think it was Zerg versus Protoss. Like, he just crushed his Protoss opponent with like a high push, and I was
like, the qualifier back then.
Yeah,
that
I was like,
crazy.
Oh my god, he's back! Whoa.
And the thing is, like, he lost his curly hair, but yeah.
Yeah, he's still curly haired CoCa to me though.
Yeah,
when I see him, I imagine like some form, something in between Paralyze's hair and his current hair is where he actually should be. So let's take a look at our results from yesterday to remind you guys what happened. No Terran advancing.
Yeah, here we go. We had Live versus Paralyze, and that was, of course, that series that we had even twice. It was the last game of the day where Live was able to advance together with Squirtlaw, of course, who dominated that group, only dropped a single map against Sky High. So a really interesting Group 1 that we had there. And then in the second group, in the afternoon group, we had a lot of Protoss players. 3 Protoss and 1 Terran. And interestingly enough, Innovation just, I mean, he absolutely got crushed there.
Yeah, he did. It was a rough group for him. He only took one single... No, he didn't even take...
I think he's...
I'm pretty sure he did. I think that's actually incorrect. I think he took a map against Hero in the losers match. Yeah, he held off one of Hero's attacks.
Yeah, exactly. So that score here is wrong. Innovation took a map against Hero. It was the only map that he won that day. But the Protoss players, they were just too strong, and especially Zest, I mean, that was so impressive. Like, him going out as the first in the group without dropping a single map, that was quite something.
Group J here kind of feels like the group of misfits to me. SuperNova's a player who was, like, bouncing between teams. He finds Azubu as his team now, but now he's, like, the mech player. There's the Best, okay?
The group of misfits.
It's the group of misfits, man. Then you've got CoCa, who went to League of Legends and came back. And then Stats, who's just kind of out there as the Kesper Protoss, who is like mid-tier.
Wait a second, I love that we have, like, usually when we have no team, there's just nothing down there, but the Best is the Best.
The Best is the Best.
Exactly, that's why we have to mention that twice.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. I was looking at I thought, like, I was going to say he's teamless, and I saw they had a team there, I was like, not really paying attention.
Yeah, because with Linok and all the others, there was just, like, the black bar behind, below it, and now we have the Best. Yeah, he's so good, you have to mention it twice. I mean, he is, like, iconic. So let's see what he can do today.
He's like the villain of StarCraft II. Like, he has eliminated so many favorites in old days, back in the old Code S, and he's just got this look about him where I just imagine him wearing a mask over his face, and he's like actually stealing and robbing from like rich people, not even to feed the poor or anything. Just because he can. He's just trying to hurt the hearts of fans out there everywhere. But if he wins today, if he qualifies, I think a lot of Terran people will respect him a lot more for it.
I think Terran players just are looking for a savior right now. It might be Maru, it might be Byung, but they need to have something. I actually saw the stats again, and I think yesterday I said we have only 7 Zergs in Code S. As far as I could tell, it's 9 by now. At least that's what I saw somewhere. Someone pulled the statistics again. So I think at this point it's actually 9 Zerg players that are currently in there. So it's definitely very Zerg and Protoss heavy now, what we see in Code S. And Terrans. Everybody's hoping that they're making a little bit of a comeback here, but on the other hand we have great players like Stats and of course the very handsome guy here to the right side of the screen who have a different idea of who should advance today. CoCa, he is ready to go, playing here for Jin Air Green Wings. And well, SuperNova, I'm excited to see him play today.
This is SuperNova's moment, man. I feel like this could be a great season for him. He just has to get through this group first, and if he can actually get through this group as one of the 3 Terrans and then also be able to show great mech play and show that like he's figured it out, he knows exactly how to do it, then I'm gonna lose it, man. I'm gonna get really excited. Yeah. SuperNova's been a player I've always liked ever since he did so well back when we had like champions of Code A.
I'm personally like, I know that a lot of people don't really like it, but in Terran vs Zerg, I'm a massive fan of mech Terran vs Zerg. I love that, and we might see that right now. We're jumping into game number 1 at the GSL Code A, SuperNova versus CoCa, brought to you by Paul Wolf.
SuperNova versus CoCa.
And starting to the bottom of the map on Polar Night, our first map in the best of 3 here at the GSL Code A, we have the Azubu player. It is SuperNova. Can he make it happen today? We're gonna find out. We're expecting a lot of mech play out of this guy. Handsome fella as he is. And starting to the top of the map, we have his opponent in blue. It is Curly Sue, curly-haired CoCa, a former Slayers player who then switched to League of Legends and came back to StarCraft II.
Yeah, and he could be very happy he was able to get on such a great Keswa team, Jin Air Green Wings, when he came back. And, you know, CoCa has so much potential, and I'm really sad. Everyone was sad when he decided that he was not going to play StarCraft II anymore for a little while. That didn't work out for him, so everyone was really happy when he came back. But, like, I imagine how good he could be had he not even taken a break.
You know, when he actually switched to League of Legends and made the decision, the entire Zerg community collectively face-pumped, and everybody was like, dude, what are you doing? Everyone thought that he was one of the players that would take a Code S title, that would win a championship or at least go to the finals. And then suddenly he decided to play League of Legends. He thought there was a lot of money to be made. Turned out that it didn't really work out for him, and now he's back in StarCraft where he belongs and where he's one of the best players that we have there. And he's actually, like, since he came back, he played not this many games yet against Terran, but the record or the track record that he has in this matchup is pretty incredible. He played 4 best of 3s, he dropped 2 maps, so he has in map score an 80% win ratio, he's 8-2, and he won every single best of 3, all 4 of them, against Dream, against MVP, against Last, and against Tassin. On the other hand, with SuperNova, we have a player who has a lot of experience, not only in Wings of Liberty, but also in Heart of the Swarm. He played 30 maps so far in this matchup. He has a 70% win ratio here. And to his last opponents that he defeated, his last victims are players like Curious, Life, and Lucky. So it's going to be a great game, I feel. I'm really looking forward to this one. SuperNova with mech, I personally would love this. I just love to watch mech Terran versus Zerg. I hate playing it, but I love watching it.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. SuperNova has always been kind of a loner. I remember his days when he was on, was it MTW? Or was it MYM?
MTW.
MTW, right? Yeah, he was on MTW, and you know, he was the loner out here in Korea. He'd come to the studio by himself and just play his matches and go home. And today he's doing the same. Like, he came by himself, and everyone's asking him questions about, you know, oh, you came here alone by yourself, and he just gave one-word answers. He ate his kimbap that he brought with him. And then when he just got up to go warm up in the booth after he ate his food, and everyone was just like, oh, aren't you going to get makeup on? He just looked, he turned around and he just said, no. And then he walked away, like, without even anything else. He's like, no, I don't need that. And you know, just goes to the booth to warm up, so.
Well, right now he's showcasing his mic here a little bit at the top of the map, just trying to be annoying with Reaper. And of course he scouted that CoCa went for a hatch first build on this map. No surprises there since we are in the Terran versus Zerg. But that Reaper is still being a little bit annoying, trying to pick off maybe another Zergling there. Whereas CoCa, as you can see, heads straight into speed. So against the build that we see from SuperNova, this is what you want to do as a Zerg player, get that speed out early. We've seen a lot of builds in the past where you just rely on additional queens and try to keep the Reapers at bay with extra queens. But that fast Zergling speed will help you against Hellions. You might get the surround there. And it just gives you a bit of a tool so you can be more aggressive on the map and be more dangerous to your opponent.
We have a starport coming up here, and I think we're going to see Mech like 100%. He's going to go over here and go into Banshees, it looks like. The Overlord already is identifying this, but knowing is only half the battle when it comes to playing against an opening like this. We've seen this opening in Pro League like almost every TVZ that we see, only one or two as players going bio. It's just becoming such a popular style because it's really flexible. Mech is actually so flexible.
You know, the thing is just like, at the beginning, of course, if you can hide the Banshee, it's great for you. You might blindside your opponent, you might get the damage done. But you don't have to rely solely on that.
Yeah.
The Banshee can first of all sneak into the base and maybe find one of those sweet spots on top of one of the extractors to take down a few drones, whereas the Spore Crawler can't reach it. And even if that doesn't work, you can just use it on the map to dominate the map, to clear the Xel'Naga watchtowers, to maybe snipe a queen. So it's something that you can utilize for a very, very long time in the game.
Yeah, and if you keep it alive long enough, you can use it to try to combat swarm hosts. You can, for example, force Spore Crawlers, which is already something that's quite useful because you basically make a Zerg player pay money to lose drones.
It also helps you a lot if your opponent decides to go for a Roach Drop. We've seen several times that with Banshees you can defend there quite well. Of course, having that extra siege tank is what you would prefer, but Banshees deal a great amount of damage, and Roach pushes against Banshee openings are always a little bit iffy for the Zerg player, since he will realize he's gonna lose everything. The question only being how much damage can you do before that happens.
Roach is a little bit late here to defend this queen. One does go down, and this is a small victory here for SuperNova. Saves his Reaper as well, which means it will actually be able to recover its health. That's really nice for him, and he's going to go over here and continue to deny a third with the Banshee as well. With all the DPS and these Hellions and the Reapers, he's not going to be able to take a third hatchery, not for a long time.
The more damage you can do to the queens, the better in the early game, so that works quite well for SuperNova. He's one of the players that has also started to use Mech a lot against Protoss. We've seen that in the GSTL.
Yeah.
And that's something that we might also see today against Stats, and I'm really excited for that. For now, we have more queens being built for CoCa. The Zerg player doesn't have a third base yet, goes straight into the lair tech with additional gases taken. And let's see how exactly he's going to play that out. I doubt it. Well, he could actually go into 2-base Mutalisk against what he sees on the map as we speak. But still, it's a little bit difficult to make work against the Mech player. And suddenly,
SuperNova's going towards the main base here. There's only a few Zerglings to stop him. 2 Reapers joining the Hellions as well. And he tries to wall here.
Out of position, and that's something that he wants to exploit. He's going for the queen again. The drones are stacking up, but so far he didn't kill any, so he's not doing the damage that he really wanted to do. Where's that Banshee? Not even close to take down a few of these units, and now he's running away with the Hellions again. Here come those drones once more, and they're stacking up this time.
Oh, 3 more go down there, and now he's going to go to the natural. The Roaches here are ready to defend a few queens as well, but he might get a drone or two. Looks like he's going to get one more, but that could have been a lot worse for CoCa. I really feel like when SuperNova decided to kill the queen, he just thought the Roaches were not turning around, not going home. He didn't have any vision on the map. So
you have to turn around with those Roaches. You have no chance of surviving if you don't.
And he attacked the queen, and instead of the drones, I think he could have done a lot more damage there. Didn't get the queen, got a decent amount of drones, but this Roach push now has to turn around itself again because the Banshees are going to make quick work of it if it doesn't stay.
That block at the building block that we saw from CoCa, that saved him. Without that, he's going to lose nearly his entire mineral line. And SuperNova, I think he was very well aware that his opponent would turn around, because there are Banshees already, so the few Roaches that he had can't really do the damage. But it was a situation where SuperNova lost a lot more than he thought he would, and he didn't kill as many Harvesters as he should have. He only killed 10. It was a good defense by CoCa there, but it's still not over. Those Banshees are doing some damage.
Now, Scan goes down here. He wants to find out if there's a wall at the front, and also, I guess he just wants to see if there's any additional tech going up. He don't think he saw the Hydralisk Den, actually, which is kind of annoying for him to not be aware of, because he's probably expecting Mutalisk then without seeing anything like this. And
he doesn't build anything against the Mutalisk, but that's what he wants to find out. He needs to know, okay, what tech do you go for? If you go for Mutalisk, I need an engineering bay, I need missile turrets, and I need to build some Thors. As we right now, as we can see, he has 4 Banshees, and that's a lot. And these Banshees, they are doing a lot of work. The
one
lone
queen is not enough.
No way that
close.
she can do anything.
He's actually going to have to cancel his hatch, I think.
Oh yeah, he does.
I mean, there's no way he can defend it. And here come the Hellions trying to go towards the main base. SuperNova is everywhere. He's going to kill Harvesters.
Cancel?
No cancel?
Oh my god.
No cancel, loses the hatch.
CoCa just made a huge mistake. There was no way for him to save that. The Hellions go down, but 26 Harvesters killed by now.
Yeah, and look at this, 45 to 52. And he's not done killing harvesters. With 4 banshees, he can basically two-shot a drone, one-shot 2 drones, is what I'm trying to say. If he splits his banshees and has 2 banshees targeting a drone each, not an easy feat. But he's just got so much DPS. A 5th banshee's now out, which means that without Hydralisk, he's actually going to die, and he does have the Hydras, so he's okay. But is actually going to lose his Roach Hornet without a transfuse.
He's going to lose that too. Currently, what's happening here is SuperNova. What he's basically doing is schooling CoCa here. He's showing him how it's done right now, because that is him dominating the game. He has now all those Banshees still active, killing Harvesters, taking down the Roach Run once again, and CoCa is under so much pressure, it's really difficult for him to do anything. He does have now a 3rd base going up once more, but the Terran player is in an incredible position here, taking his own 3rd, and
he's ahead in
still
Harvesters,
getting his mech army back at home.
And Roach Drop is an answer to this, or just drop in general from CoCa is not a bad choice, but he's just so far behind that I don't think he's going to be able to make it work.
Well, what he's, in my opinion, going to do is not a massive drop into the main base, but he will probably try to drop on top of the siege tanks when they siege up, because the position that SuperNova is now playing just crushes Roach Hydra if you approach on ground and just walk in. Yeah. The only way you can make that work is if you have timing where you have the superior force and you can immediately just swarm your opponent, you send waves in and take down the siege tanks right away. But with how the game goes, he cannot really hope for that. So I feel that the drop play is going to come into play when we have him just dropping on top of a few siege tanks trying to take them out. But in general, I'm not a fan of Roach Hydra versus a mech composition without any support. We don't see Mutalisk, we don't see Swarm Host, we don't have attack into tier 3 for Vipers. So this, I really don't know how CoCa is currently trying to win this game.
Well, I've seen a lot of mech TVZs, and no one has actually tried to use this response so far in Pro League with Hydralisk. It's really tough when you're behind to have enough, because you have to have like an overwhelming amount, and you have to be constantly fighting and trading with a good economy behind it, but he just doesn't have all of those things.
I've seen it a few times. You can make it work if you have a good start into the game and you really have the economy to just send a huge wave in. At the front you have a couple of Roaches that take the first few hits, and then you try to eliminate the siege tanks. But he's so far behind already thanks to the harass, and
no
this
Overlord
is just basically him taking it down. The Overlord speed is missing as well. It's not done yet, and he's getting absolutely annihilated.
He's crushed here. There's probably not going to be any recovering for this. I mean, even Banshees are fighting against Hydralisk with siege tank support, of course, but like...
Yeah, and this is only like the first wave. There's a 3-base economy behind this, a 2-2 upgrade is nearly done. Blue Flame coming in, Thor is a 4th base. This is SuperNova absolutely schooling CoCa here. CoCa, so far, he had no chance in this game.
Yeah, he got schooled, man. Yeah. And the funny thing is, Maru plays a really solid mech style. That's the teammate of CoCa right now, and I guess that I think it's more so not that CoCa doesn't know what to do, it's just that he got so behind in the early game, and now he's desperately trying to hold, but it's not going to happen. Way too many siege tanks here. The Hydralisks have no chance, and that is going to be game 2-2 finishes here, and so does CoCa. GG.
The speed upgrade for the Overlords, it hit a little bit too late. He could have maybe used that in one of the fights and drop on top of the siege tanks like he originally planned, but he lost too much already before the upgrade was done, and then it wasn't an option anymore. Either way, he was behind since he lost so much in the early game. Losing that 3rd base without cancelling it was a big oversight by him. That was also caused by the Hellions that were trying to get into his main base, so he had to focus his attention on those and shutting them down. But that cost him a lot of minerals, 350 in total, including the drone that was building the base. So right now, SuperNova just with an incredible start in the best-of-3 series, and CoCa has to seriously step it up here if he wants to win this best-of-3 and take 2 in a row now, because that is going to be super, super difficult for him.
Yeah, and I think SuperNova is like one of the best meching Terrans in this matchup. He's just shown it over and over again. Daedalus Point being the map choice here for CoCa. Pretty good choice because this map favors Zerg actually highly right now in win ratios, but also just it's got a wide open choke, so there's so many different ways for CoCa to go for run-bys and counterattacks against mech if that's what he's up against. And I think we can reasonably expect that SuperNova's going to mech again. He may not because it's Daedalus Point, but just because of how often he does mech and how good he's at it and how confident he seems, I expect him to do it again.
It's a very good map here for CoCa, that's definitely true, like how the map works, but so far SuperNova has done a decent job here. And the thing is that with the mech composition, if you turtle up a little bit with the siege tanks and you just get that expansion going, you have the opportunity to just get those siege tanks on the high ground as a 3rd base as well and really defend against the Zerg player. So I'm very interested to see how CoCa's going to play it. I completely agree with you that I think that SuperNova is once again going for the mech style here. Because this is a map where you want to turtle here, because you realize that it's very difficult to go into any other style. Game number 2 coming up at the GSL Code A, ladies and gentlemen. SuperNova versus CoCa, brought to you by Colin Wolf.